Good morning. Thank you for waiting. If you could
Great.
give us your name, and you have 3 minutes.
It's Jean-Pierre, and I'm with Northwest Sustainable Properties and Siteworks Design Build. Thanks to great ideas, great leadership, Portland is a city renowned for building green. That said, the higher costs and the larger permit fees required to produce mid-rise green buildings have required that most green projects be either government-sponsored or luxury housing. Our project, Eco Flats, on North Williams, received a PDC loan due to its goal to shatter the belief that neighborhood-friendly green developments are cost-prohibitive and that net energy zero is too expensive. We have created a mid-rise model that can be enjoyed by the many and is highly reproducible. Therefore, we are on the verge of creating a field of infill workforce housing that is low energy, green, and transportation oriented. Unfortunately, due to recent unexpected spikes in SDC fees that hurt mid-rise green development the most, the current threat of an 8% increase from BDS, and the inability for city agencies to produce a coherent remedy on how these fees ought to be handled, the future of green development is in jeopardy. The trail we are blazing, along with other green-motivated developers, will scarcely be followed. In order to remedy the SDC increases, we looked into city-sponsored incentives offered to defer transportation and parks SDC fees as a solution. The result was not useful. The deferral program offered is actually a first position loan that no bank or even PDC can accept. The deferral program, once entered, is quickly is bonded and sold immediately. We have since paid interest on it, even though our permits were not issued for another 3 months. Because the city has not produced a solution that could be used, another solution must be developed. Keep in mind, mid-rise structures already pay on an average of 12% in permit costs, and city fee increase to this cost makes projects not viable. Put simply, the margins are already too thin, and then what are the benefits to investors? When the 8% BDS fee increase arose, I was so in disbelief, I thought that perhaps I was not seeing things correctly. The realization is that we, the developers, are the only one who see things as they are. Now I have engaged with other green developers around the cities. I have learned that they are having the same concern over the fee increases, and I have gained their support in this letter, as you will see. The truth is that we should be looking into the benefits of a decrease in city fees. Currently, system development charges are not properly valuing the green development that is in alignment with the city's green goals. The current structure and additional increases are therefore self-defeating because already SDCs are hurting the very developments that put less pressure on the SDC systems, and any further increase to development will disengage developers who fund the agency. The new effort by the city to raise BDS fees on top of the high fees we are already paying will surely bring development to a standstill in Portland. To remedy this, what we are asking for is 4 things. First, vote down the 8% BDS permit fee increase, and by doing so, you will have begun to spur green development, create jobs, and a greener future in Portland. Second, Bureau of Environmental Services has to implement conservancy-based fee system that awards low water implementation in its SDC charge. Water conservancy has to be rewarded. Do this, and it will happen on a larger scale. Third, parks fees need to be more fair based on size of units rather than on the current per unit charge. Currently, we pay the same per unit for a small footprint 600 square foot unit that one would pay for a 3,500 square foot penthouse. This is a big concern for mid-rise development, infill work housing, and energy efficient housing. Fourth, the definition of deferral should return to what deferral really can mean. The SDCs should be deferred and paid when the buildings are put into use at project completion. Building green is obviously very important to climate change, energy conservation, and health and well-being. What's more, in Portland, green buildings are a source of regional pride. I've gathered the green development community of our city. These supporters have responded to the call from our leaders that we need to do something better and greener. With the combined experience under our belts, we are experienced enough to know that developers are the only ones to see how all the different city agencies come into play, and that it is our combined opinion that our 4 requests have to be met to keep Portland building green infill structures. In a climate where the market has shifted...
Excuse me, I've given you an extra minute. Are you nearly done?
What's that? I'm almost done.
Okay,
it's just
ahead.
2 more sentences. Pardon me. In a climate where the market has shifted, we, the development community, see how our efforts are key to creating the jobs that benefit the city and state, the potential to pick up on the right foot and create new green construction jobs, green workplaces, and green living is here at this moment. With the city participation in our request, we can meet the goal of the greenest city for years to come. Our state's green development soon could be able to include everyone in its goals, and could continue to be recognized nationwide.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Did you have a question?
Well, first question.
Yeah.
Can you give your letter to the clerk so we can all get copies of that?
Absolutely.
I'd like to see that. And then second question, just if we were to say flirt with some idea of exempting green construction, I mean, do we have a definition of what green construction means?
I think that really what we're talking about here is your mid-rise structure. I mean, you're already
What do you
paying.
mean by mid-rise?
Well,
Like
mid-rise
2-3 story?
structures, 4 stories, 5 stories structures. Those are your great infill structures that we really want to see in the city of Portland. I mean, they're great for BES because they're already close to the system. You're not, going way outside for a single-family home, and they utilize the system we have in place. The problem we have with the mid-rise structure and market rate or workforce housing is the parks charges being based per unit rather than unit size. So we're trying to build smaller footprints to keep costs down for people to be able to enjoy these benefits of green structures. We consider that an amenity that people want, and we feel that is unfairly being allocated towards by unit rather than by unit size. Secondly, the water conservancy that we put into all of our projects are, we're looking at, 30 to 35 gallons per person per use, and we're paying on a 60-gallon basis. These measures cost us more money to do. We do them because we're motivated to do them, but we could use some assistance for doing so.
So you definitely mean by green structures, mid-rise infill that has some features that are truly water conservation, other things that we would attribute, landscaping, stuff like that.
Yeah, anything. We're trying to make it very simple. It would be great if you could allocate, different permit fees just to green structures. I know that that's probably a pretty complicated process, so I'm really trying to address the very things that we could more simply address in order to keep us working in the ways that we are motivated to work. The big problem now is we have a lot of private money on the in the wings, in low interest bearing investments that could come back into play, and we would like to engage that. But meeting with investors of this sort, given the complication of the banks and the conservative loans that we're getting, all of this really heavily impacts our pro forma. So it's very hard to engage investors as the margin gets smaller and smaller, and especially with the uncertainty of construction and development.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it.